Are you a manifestation skeptic? Perhaps you have heard about it and you've rolled your eyes a little bit and told yourself there is no possible way this can work. Well, today's video is for you, my friend. I'm going to give you a simple way to think about manifestation that's going to work for you, even if you are a skeptic. So let's get into it. Hey there, my name is Jenn. I'm a coach and creator of the Aligned Life, and I'd love to welcome you back to Aligned TV. So today we're talking about manifestation for skeptics. Just before we get into it, I should say that I'm not really that invested in changing everybody's mind. Like, if you really don't want to believe in this stuff, that is completely okay. Sometimes I come across people in the world that think that just because I believe in this and that they don't, that we have to have this big, long, extended argument about it. And that is not my intention at all. I just want to share with you some manifestation mindset tips that might have you thinking about all of this manifestation stuff in a different way. But it really makes no difference to me if you believe in it or not. Like, of course, I'm obviously passionate about this subject, but if you are perfectly happy in your own life doing your own thing, then go do you, boo. There is no need to come for me in the comment section. I just have to put that out there because I know somebody's going to try it. Okay, so now that we've said that, let's get into the rest of the video. I know why people roll their eyes when it comes to the idea of manifestation. The idea that you could just think something and have it magically happen in the world seems a little bit ridiculous, right? You are probably telling yourself right now,
There's just no way that that can happen.
if it was that easy for me to create money or love, then I would probably have all of those things already. So you're not wrong here. And there are a lot of manifestation teachers out there who are telling you this very simplified way of manifestation. However, that is not what we're doing around here. I am very upfront with the fact that the biggest successes I have found in my own manifestation practice and in my life are due to some serious internal work, shadow work, emotional healing work, inner child work, etc. The thing is that I am using these psychological tools as a way to help me get to the things that I want. And I'm using my manifestation goals as a guide. So I know what to look for, right? Like, if you desire something like money and you are having issues with creating that money, then perhaps you have some inner work around money that you need to address. So if you want, you can look at manifestation purely from a self-development point of view. You can look at your desires as directions for you to go out in. So you can concentrate your healing work in those directions and therefore create the kind of changes in your life that you want to create. Honestly, I think manifestation and personal development work are like this. Like, your psychology and your spirituality to me are very intertwined, although that is not the lens that most teachers speak from. And you are perfectly welcome to enter the world of manifestation just from that perspective alone. Thinking of this as a channel and an inspiration for you to do your internal work, like that alone should give you enough permission to lean into this and to use it as a redirection tool for you to better yourself in one way or another. The next thing that I want to talk about is the concept of magic, or the concept of God, the universe, basically the spiritual lens. In my world of manifestation, I am very much concentrating on the real psychological tools that you can use to create changes in your life. I do, however, talk about the universe here and there. I do talk a lot about magic. In fact, I wrote a whole book about magic, which you can check out right here. But are any of these things a prerequisite for you to begin your manifestation journey? Of course not. Even though I am a spiritual person, again, I am not really that concerned with having the same spiritual beliefs as everybody else. I don't need to make myself more right by convincing everyone else to believe what I believe. I am inspired to share my beliefs and to share the things that have happened to me in my life purely because I'm inspired to, and that's what excites me. But again, if you don't want to lean into this part of it, that is completely okay. I know that there are a lot of people in the world who are just not that spiritual, and I'm not looking at those people in terms of me being better than them in any way at all. I like to think that we are all on our own journeys, and that if we are meant to be a spiritual person, you are eventually going to get there. The big catalyst in my life that I have spoken about so many times was when I got divorced, and my life at that time crumbled. That really sent me on my own spiritual awakening journey and reconnected me to a lot of the things that I was interested in way back when I was a teenager. Beyond that, I have had so many spiritual experiences at this point in time that for me to doubt the presence of a higher creator, source, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, it seems a little bit ridiculous to me, but it makes no difference to me whether whether or not you want to believe in that stuff. I do believe that if you set an intention and you start to work toward it, that sometimes magical things fall into your reality and that things start to align for you, therefore the aligned life. I'm all about alignment over here. But I completely understand that there are people in the world that are very scientific. They're the people that will only believe in it once they see it. And of course, if you are that kind of person, like that's totally fine. If you're an atheist, if you're agnostic, like you can completely hang out there. But I am going to give you something to think about if you're coming from one of those places. Instead of thinking about the universe creating magic in your life, which is how I personally like to think about it, why don't we come back again to the psychology of it? And by that, I mean the reticular activating system. Your reticular activating system, or your RAS, is your brain's pattern recognition mechanism. Humans are incredibly good at detecting patterns. This was part of how we grew to be such a successful species. If you could learn the pattern of what to look for in dangers in the wild, or in the kinds of berries that you're picking, or in the kinds of mushrooms that you're picking, then your chances for survival were that much better. All of that is just to say that your brain likes to look for patterns in the world. And in fact, it is doing that right now. One very simplified way you can think about manifestation is this: whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. So a lot of the work I do in manifestation is about strengthening your belief in yourself, because your belief in yourself creates a lot of your results. If you think that something is beyond you, or that you're not powerful enough or smart enough to do a certain thing, that is probably the result that you are going to create in your life. And this is where the reticular activating system comes into effect. If you are primed to look for negative things in the world around you, or if you're primed to look for limitations in yourself or in what's possible for you, you are going to find them. When you think they are there, you are going to pick up on more of them. So what happens instead of using that reticular activating system and that pattern recognition system for the negative things? What if instead we started to use that for positive things? What if we started to work on your core beliefs and tried to get you to truly believe that you can have the things that you want to manifest? When you do enough work on your beliefs, your reticular activating system is going to change itself. You are going to start to see more possibility and more positivity in the world around you than you are right now. So this to me feels like the magic. This is the part where it feels like the universe is watching out for me. But if you want to just look at the psychological part, it's just that you have changed what you are looking for. You have changed the literal filter that you hold in front of you at all times. But now, instead of expecting bad things and looking for your limitations, you are now using that to benefit you. You are looking for possibilities. You are looking for opportunities. And guess what happens when you see possibilities and opportunities? You're probably going to act on them. And when you start to act on those possibilities and those opportunities, then the path opens up wider and wider. And that is a very scientific way to look at manifestation. If you think it is all gobbledygook and it's all just mumbo jumbo fakeness, just remember that you have the ability to program what you believe, and that by changing those beliefs, you can create some very real, tangible results in your life. So one of the complaints I see people talking about when it comes to manifestation is that manifestation comes from a place of privilege. Of course, I'm not going to go to Africa and tell some starving child that if they just think positive thoughts, that they're going to elevate themselves out of a system of poverty. As a spiritual person, it is really important to keep an eye on how we are using these tools. So I want to acknowledge that there are some very real forces in the world that manifestation will not work against. These are things like capitalism, colonialism, racism, sexism. To my mind, as a spiritual person, this is our collective karma. This is the stuff that we are all here experiencing. And from a spiritual perspective, if you're aware of it and you think it's wrong, it's also part of your spiritual duty to do something to help change things. I don't see very many spiritual people talking about this responsibility of the collective, but I think this is the piece that is missing from a lot of popular culture, spirituality, and manifestation work. You manifest on a personal level, and you also manifest on a global community level. Being passive and letting things go, that is basically choosing not to use your power. And if you think that that is not going to have ramifications for you as a spiritual being in the long term, you are very wrong, my friend. Choosing to turn your back on people and to tell yourself that this is not your problem to fix, that is not the path forward. That is not how we get ourselves out of this mess that we are in. Sorry, I get a little bit passionate about that, but it needed to be said. So where does manifestation work? If we live in this world where there are so many outside forces that we don't have control over, how does manifestation work and why should you continue to use it? So let's go back to the core of it. Whether you think you can or think you can't, you are right. My process of manifestation work is all about teaching you that you can. So yeah, there are forces out there that are bigger than us. They're bigger than me, they're bigger than you, and they're bigger than us together. However, manifestation is about taking control of what we can, and that is what is in here: your beliefs, your emotions, and your actions. And do I think the fact that there are big issues in the world that manifestation cannot fix stop you from manifesting? No. In fact, I need you to be here right now. I need you to be in your life at this moment. I need you to take care of yourself in this moment. When you are the person who is living that life, you are inspiring other people. If you have economic resources, if that is what you want to manifest, you become a person of power who can give money, lend money, take care of people. Are there people manifesting like a Lamborghini and a Chanel purse on Instagram that make the whole thing look completely shallow and capitalistic? Yes, but you don't have to be that person. If you take one thing away from this video today, I just really want you to remind yourself of your power. Figuring out what you want in this life and who you want to be is so important. Stepping into your power and not letting life just happen to you, that is an incredible thing, especially if you're a woman, if you are a minority, if you're LGBTQT. In fact, I think it is more important for these marginalized groups to lean into this healing work and to lean into this manifestation power because you have been systemically taught that you are powerless, that you are less than, and that you should put up with having less in this life. I know this is a very wide-ranging discussion today, but I really hope that something here resonated, and I really hope I inspired you to take back power in your life in one way or another. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please do me a favor and give me a like, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you back here in next week's video. Happy manifesting!